It is 12 noon. Welcome back to Three Man Front. Pat Landrum, Molly Conrad with you. It's a very special day as the Southeastern Conference only lone representative back in the college football playoff, playing tonight against the Miami Hurricanes as the Ole Miss Rebels tonight, 6:30. You can hear the game right here on Jackson, our main man, good friend of the program. He has been with us on Thursday, and we're going to hopefully continue that for a couple more Thursdays. Brett Norsworthy from WHBQ Radio in Memphis. Also, you can hear him tonight on the Ole Miss Radio in the desert.
Well, now the national Miss Rebel national 2020.
And bolts of this game tonight. I've been out there numerous times. So has Landrum. What have you been doing with yourself? Scottsdale? You gone down to Tempe? What have you been doing there in the wonderful desert?
Well, we've had a lot of events, but it has been unseasonably cool out here. I think it's me. I've been out here in really nice months, but I've been here in December, January, and February, and I am the anti-Chamber of Commerce guy. I was here for Super Bowl 51, and we were going to go out to TPC Scottsdale that year to the big tournament to the Waste Management, and it was 47 and raining that day, so we didn't go, and Tiger missed the cut. That was the year he had the chili dips. But it hadn't been 47, but it's been too cool for a lot of fun outside. But it's been good, and the festival's done a good job. But like a lot of bowls now, we know these are really more playoff games than they are the old traditional bowl week like we had. Sugar Bowl was more of what we remember, but not like we really remember the Sugar Bowl. This week it's been all business.
Pat was describing to us, Brett, that there was maybe 30,000 Ole Miss fans that were expected to make the trip. What has it been unprecedented as far as the amount of Ole Miss folks and representation you've seen there?
Yeah, by Ole Miss people and by Fiesta Bowl people, we think the two fan bases will have about 30,000 Ole Miss, about 12 for Miami, and the rest, what makes up the rest will be corporate. But there are a lot of inexpensive tickets out there. And it like a lot of events has been very corporatized. We understand that, and you can go to whatever ticket site map you want to, and look at the seats that were available to both fan bases, and it really wasn't anything that good. I had someone with the Ole Miss Foundation tell me that a donor that gives just as much as you can give will probably be sitting in the worst seats he sat in 30 years.
That's typically the way it goes now in this corporate world that we live in. All right, so let's talk about the game. So much drama has been going on at the coaching staff. Who's going to be there, who's not going to be there, all that kind of stuff. And I know Pete Golding, I know Joe Judge, and others have addressed it over the course of the last couple of days. But for you, Brett, when you look at that, has that had of the last couple of days? But for you, Brett, when you look at that, has that had any any dwelling at all about how this team has been preparing? I mean, is that something that more of us outside the locker room has kind of fixated ourselves on, or is this a story whatsoever?
It's just not a story at all. Not even close. And to see the hours of conversation, hear the hours of conversation. I mean, it's all Greeny can talk about. And, you want all your information on Ole Miss football, go to Mike Greenberg, right? And it makes me think, Pat and Landrum and Conrad and Molly, we know locally how we cover it, how we know it. We know the story. And I just wonder, both sports, politics, everything else, that when we watch the national broadcast of anything, sports, politics, whatever it is, I just wonder, how jaundiced, prejudiced, unknowing, whatever the word is, that we might be getting back, because I'm hearing about this dysfunction and this chaos, and there's just not any. Ole Miss could lose tonight 45-0. It will not be over. Any coaches here or not here.
Brett Norsworthy joining us here on Three Man Front. All of our guests join us on the Higginbotham Hotline. As for the game, the matchup itself should be really, really entertaining. Right now, Miami around a 3.5 point favorite. Depends on where you look, but Ole Miss, what they do well, Miami, what they do well. When you look at the matchups, what's the most pivotal that you see, Brett, and how it plays out?
Got to block those edges. Got to block that Miami front, and also get them chasing Trinidad. You might see a couple of more direct runs from Trinidad than you did in the Sugar Bowl. That was a lot of pocket and then scramble and improvisation at the Sugar Bowl by Trinidad. But I think you could see, them come real hard in that one step and go quarterback draw. Or when you run these pass routes, now we all know this with these mobile quarterbacks, and you run those go routes and you've got everybody defensively way down the field. If those defensive ends bite on one head fake, the middle of the field opens up like you're in punt return. And Ole Miss they have to exploit that. And then I think they will try to run right at them with Kawan Lacey and the Ole Miss rushing attack. Just run right at Miami that held Texas A&M to 7 points and really made Julian Sayin look like a different player than we'd seen all year.
As far as the health goes for this Ole Miss football team coming into the game, everyone pretty healthy. I mean, it seems like the roster, I know there's bumps and bruises. You get to this late in the season, everybody's got something going on. But from a major standpoint, anybody out or nicked?
No, everybody's really healthy, Pat. I mean, game 15 going into the night, 13-1, most wins in school history, and more wins this year than Mississippi State has in the last 3 years.
I love it, man. More wins this year than Mississippi State the previous 3 years. Correct?
They have 12.
They have 12, and Ole Miss has 13 in one season.
Wow.
Oh, that's a great stat. Brett Norsworthy joins us from WHBQ in Memphis. When you look at this Miami team, and you just mentioned it on the edges, that is where a lot of teams, especially Ohio State, ran into difficulty. At the very first part of this, telling sign for you as you're watching this kind of play out, if Ole Miss is going to be able to be successful, is it that on the line of scrimmage? If a good night is going to be had by the Rebels, it's going to
100% line of scrimmage, blocking those defensive ends, and then stopping the Miami rushing attack. I think Miami's going to try to line up and run it down our throat and just see if we can stop it. And then if Ole Miss can bow up and stop it like it did most of the second half against Georgia, although Frazier had a good game until he got hurt, but got to bow up and stop the rush. He is near or stop and just that Georgia heavily that well, but here is 30. So that's our
telling the circles a crapshoot when it comes to the NCAA. But as far as his waiver and his eligibility, we have all said that we would love to see Trinidad Chambliss play another year of college football here on the show. But what is your feeling? Does he get granted that extra year?
Landrum, I think he will, and if he does, I mean, this is kind of already getting next year started. We know the two summertime Heisman Trophy darlings will be Arch Manning and Trinidad Chambliss all summer heading into next year, and what a story that will be. And we go to Texas next year, but we think he'll be eligible. Now Tom Mars is on our side. We have fought him enough when he's on the other side. It's a lot more fun to have Tom Mars on our side than going against him. And I know Tom a little bit back from Arkansas days, and he's a brilliant guy. Was at the Rose Law Firm with Hillary Clinton, and he was head of the Arkansas State Police for Mike Huckabee, and he's a really smart guy. The story goes that he has the highest bar exam score in the history of the Arkansas bar exam. He's a brilliant guy, and he's a lot more fun to have him on your side than going against him because, man, he won in a bludgeoning knockout. But he had all the facts and all the evidence with him. That makes for a better case, and we think he has the facts and a better case this time for Trinidad.
All right, so let's assume that the Rebels get past Miami tonight, and you're on your way to South Florida. Miami will be the site for the national championship game. As far as matchups go, I mean, we saw what Indiana did to Alabama. Is Alabama or Oregon a better matchup for Ole Miss, in your opinion?
Indiana or Oregon?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think either is really better or worse than the other one. I think I want to play Indiana because if they haven't proved by now that they're the best team in the country, what they did all year, winning by 10 at Eugene, beating Ohio State in the Big Ten championship game, and then last week in the Rose Bowl game, what they did to Alabama, what they did physically to Alabama, to hold Bama to 23 yards rushing. I think Johnny Musso could run for 23 yards, and Bama couldn't. Excuse me, couldn't last week. And I want to play against the best. And Fernando Mendoza, the Heisman Trophy winner, but really it'll be fine either way. But I want to play the best, and I think that's Indiana. And 2 years ago when we were all at SEC Media Days in Dallas, summer of 2024, joining shows, walking down the hallway at night at parties with all our friends, with Conrad was there. If I'd have said to somebody, you know what, not this year, but next year, it's going to be Indiana versus Ole Miss for the national championship, they would have taken me straight from Radio Row to the Texas State Hospital for the criminally insane.
Or they take you at your word and they start getting their affairs together because they know that the world is about to end.
It would mark the end of time. What Kurt Signetti has done, and we much talked about all four of these coaches with a direct link, not just to Coach Saban, but to Coach Saban at Alabama, and that's where he really got it down. Great coach. I think what he did at Toledo may have been one of his great coaching jobs, but Toledo, Michigan State, LSU, even the Dolphins. But the Dolphins would like to have Nick Saban right now after their firing this morning. But what he did at Alabama, and for all four coaches to have direct link to him at Bama, the Bama building, the Bama way, the prowess of Coach Nick Saban, anytime we don't think we praise him enough, we need to praise him more.
There's more that we can discuss, but before I forget, your I Ain't Scared bold prediction. If you're just joining us for the first time, Brett gives us his I Ain't Scared bold prediction for the college football weekend. In this case, it would be for tonight and for tomorrow. But Brett, what do you have? I can't wait.
Yeah, no shocker where I'm going. I'm 12-7 on the year. I split last week, was right on Ole Miss. I was wrong on Bama. And of my 12 wins, 7 have been straight up. So you want to play the money line for news information only, of course. Take Ole Miss tonight plus the 3.5. You don't need the 3.5. Play a money line straight up. Ole Miss wins 31-28. Another nail biter, and another one where my blood pressure is at dangerously high level.
Toddy!
Oh my goodness, love it. On the money line. Don't even play around with that point spread.
No.
Just go for it all.
Those points.
Let's
That's for chickens. You don't need points.
Let me see. Money line is plus 145 for Ole Miss.
And that's pretty fair. That's pretty fair. But
yeah,
I think Ole Miss wins, and I've got Indiana by 4 tomorrow night. But I am a little scared of that when they're the favorite. I always like to pick underdog, usually straight up.
Well, listen, we're tickled to death that you and Evie are out there in the desert. Yeah. It should be a great game tonight, and we look forward to catching up with you next week as Ole Miss gets prepared for the national championship.
We'll do it, Ole Miss and Indiana for the national championship. That would even be weird in basketball, wouldn't it?
Yeah, that's weird in any sport that we could throw out there.
I think so. It really is. I mean, that would be odd in Omaha.
Especially from the Indiana side.
Yeah.
Not so much from the Rebels. Take care, brother. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you, Brett.
Thank y'all so much. Thank you.
Thank you. That's Brett Norsworthy. Joined us on the Higginbotham Hotline. You deserve solutions that are built for you. Higginbotham is your one-source solution for insurance, financial, and HR services.
All right, a lot of your texts coming in. You've got predictions tonight. We will get to those. Three-man front continues on Jocks.
It's 12:17. Welcome back to the three-man front. Coming up at the bottom of the hour, John Talty will be on the show from CBS Sports. A lot of stuff going on in the world of college football, not just, but some definite things going on in Seattle, Washington with their starting quarterback, potentially going into the transfer portal. His attorney this morning, he has decided not to represent the quarterback anymore from Washington. He said they have a conflict of interest, a differing of opinions, philosophical differences. And so the attorney for the for the Washington quarterback has decided to walk away. He's also the agent for Jed Fish, who is the head coach.
And there's your conflict of interest.
There's a conflict of interest.
Yep. So
Well, Tom Mars is busy.
yeah, he's busy trying to get Trinidad Chambliss.
How quick do you need this done?
Yeah.
Do we all agree that he's going to be able to go wherever he wants?
No.
You don't think so?
Not without paying a good bit of money if Washington deems it.
Well, yeah, but at the end of the day, like, do we expect him to actually be Washington's quarterback next year?
Based on the things that I heard yesterday from a lot of different people, the contract that he signed is ironclad. But some attorneys will tell you that although he signed that piece of paper, he is not deemed an employee as a player.
So essentially the contract means nothing.
Correct.
Oh, that'll be a fun can of worms to open up.
So yeah, it's
Once again, though, don't sign a contract or at least. And I don't know who was representing this guy or giving this guy guidance, and in some cases it is really sad because they either get poor advice or they get no advice. And hopefully you have a coaching staff there that has got their best interest at heart. But you sign the deal, and then 4 days later, out of the blue, you get the call from the guy that you committed to back in 2022 and says, hey, we really, really would love to get a visit from you. And then all of a sudden everything changes.
And that's where, like what you're saying, right, is some of these guys, whether it's bad advice or they're not getting any advice at all, that's just my thing with a player of his caliber, right? You're telling me nobody said, hey, by the way, if you're happy at Washington, great, stay here. They'll take care of you. But if you were interested in shopping your services around, you would probably be looking at a $3 to $4 million deal.
But once again, we're not doing any of these guys a favor because there's no consequences for anything now. You don't get your way. You don't get enough playing time, whatever.
You can leave.
You can leave at the end of the year. No consequences.
And you can sign a contract, and that's really not teaching what the real world is.
No, it's not the real world.
Because all of us sign contracts to work here at this radio station, and we can't just get mad one day and decide, okay, we're walking out, we're going to go work somewhere else. No, that's not the way it works. You have a contract.
Well, that's the thing I'm hating about pro sports is they're getting in that direct. And granted, it's not super common, and it's always very, very good players. But they go, oh, I don't like being here anymore. I'm going to not play.
Yeah, I would understand it
that.
if Damon Williams was signing his deal and he didn't understand it. They told him to hurry up and sign it. Don't worry about it. We'll fill you in on what the details of the contract. I can't see it going that way, but you sign the deal. What is Washington supposed to do?
Washington is a very noteworthy academic institution. And for this individual, you got to be smart to be a quarterback, no matter where you play. But he's at the University of Washington, and if he didn't realize that in side point number 1, the buyout of this contract reads the cost of the buyout is in the sole discretion of Washington. Like, that right there pretty much tells you that the buyout is to the discretion of the university. In other words, if you don't like it, they don't like you, they can say, pay us $1 and you can leave. Or if they want to hold your feet over a barrel, they're going to tell you, okay, it's $100 million.
Yeah, I was about to say
they can't leave.
They can name their price.
So that's the point number 1. You read it and you're like going, okay, well, that's pretty ironclad. And then the second part is that the institution is not obligated to enter the student athlete into the transfer portal or otherwise assist to facilitate the student athlete's transfer to another college.
That's where I just wonder, like, at some point does this, and I don't like to compare to this because they're different situations, but at a certain point, does it almost become like the Nico thing where it's such a headache that even if you're Washington, you're like, do we even want you here?
Well,
like, he's a great player, but like, do we really want you here if you're obviously not interested in being here anymore?
Let's entertain how this played out, though. You've signed that deal. So Lane Kiffin or whoever, we believe, because I asked Trey Wallace about it yesterday when he joined the show, he decides, hey, we're gonna. What do you think the advice was for him to say, to not only come out and say, I want to get into the portal, I want to explore all other opportunities. You've told your team that. You told the fan base that. You told the coach that. So good luck. But who gave him the advice when I'm sure they said, hey, you've signed that because it was national news, you've signed that deal. Who gave him the advice on the other end of the phone that said, you know what, screw it. Who cares about that?
Doesn't feel
kids
like
are
it was
getting out of
his
those
agent.
all over the place.
Yeah, I don't think it was his attorney.
Roll the dice. Roll the dice. We'll get you here.
It was because probably Lane Kiffin and the people at LSU told him, we got you covered. Don't worry about it.
Oh, yeah. They probably threw a dollar amount out there that he went, oh, my gosh, I can't believe you're offering me that. Yes.
For him to sign a multi-million-dollar deal with Washington 4 days earlier and then to decide, you know what, I'm going to lawyer up, I'm going to go to the portal and void that contract. Somebody told him that was a good move.
I was about to say, somebody told him they thought that there was a loophole or a way that they could get out of it. Is he not the perfect quarterback for Lane Kiffin, though, at this point?
I think at this point, Lane is looking for – he's going to Ferris State again. He's trying to find
He needs somebody. He needs a body.
Yeah, he needs somebody. And keep in mind, so Trinidad Chambliss, so Tom Mars put forth paperwork for the third time yesterday to the NCAA because the NCAA has given them the indication that they are not going to approve this. And it's crazy to think that he played those 2 years at Ferris State. 1 year, he didn't play it down. He had tonsillitis. They've got doctors, physicians have posted notes and paperwork saying that he had a problem, and now the NCAA keeps coming back saying, okay, we need to know exact details. Like on this date, was he at practice? At this date, what was wrong with him? Why did he not participate? Now they don't have those type of records in regards because unless you've got a chronic situation where you are absolutely going into the office every day, especially at Ferris State. You're not talking about Alabama and Auburn where you got the medical team that is monitoring how fast you're running at practice.
This wasn't like Talia, hey, by the way, forget that I played in those games and give me an extra year.
But Tom Mars being so familiar with this and actually doing work for the NCAA and being on the other side, Tom Mars is just waiting for them to say, no, he can't do it, so then he can introduce the lawsuit.
Well, the next thing that probably what's going to happen, because you think about it, this needs to happen pretty quick for all parties involved. You've got the transfer portal that is going to be closed on January the 16th. So Ole Miss would love some resolution very quick. And if they don't get it quickly, I think what you're going to have happen is Tom Mars is going to go to a Mississippi court and he's going to try to get an injunction. And he tries to get an injunction, then he's going to stop the NCAA from stopping his client from making money and being a quarterback at Ole Miss next year. Similar to what Diego Pavia did to get his injunction to where he was able to play another year of football. But when it comes to protecting your home or business, you need a roofing team that truly abides by quality, and that's Abide Roofing. Abide Roofing offers tailored roofing solutions for every need, your family home, your commercial building, whatever you got. They deliver custom work that fits your style and your situation. It's always safety first at Abide, using the latest tools, following the highest standards. That's why I went with Abide a couple of years ago when I had to have a brand new roof put on my house. I called Travis Lloyd. He dealt with my insurance company. They have 25 years of trusted experience, and Abide Roofing brings real expertise to every job they do. And as I just mentioned, they're insurance claim masters, helping you navigate the process to get you the coverage you deserve. Abide Roofing can handle that for you. So get started today, 205-577-7338. That's 205-577-7338. We've got some heavy storms that's coming through Birmingham tomorrow night. Make sure your roof is protected, whether it's a small problem or you need a whole roof replacement. Give them a call at Abide Roofing, 205-577-7338.
Just a snippet from the Jocks text line. This coming from Tim previewing tonight's game. He texted in, pulling for Ole Miss just because they're in the SEC is like pulling for Satan because he's in the Bible. John Talty joins us next. 12:33 man front. John Talty going to join us momentarily tonight. The Finnick, that is your place to watch the college. We get Indiana and Oregon college basketball and the NFL playoffs over the weekend. The Finnick, located conveniently 1630 2nd Avenue South. It's right next to Railroad Park, but you can get in, enjoy the projector screens, the video boards, the state-of-the-art sound, and they will turn up the volume for the big games. Also, pool tables, award-winning menu. You got to wings. I know everybody says we got great wings. They have wonderful wings, but also great fork and knife options. They hand-cut their own steaks, fresh Gulf seafood, the shareables, all kinds of drink specials they're going to have for the college football playoff and the NFL weekend. The Finnick, 1630 2nd Avenue South, near Railroad Park.
Joining us now on the Higginbotham Hotline, national college sports reporter for CBS Sports, John Talty joins us here on Three Man Front. John, Happy New Year. Hope you're well.
Doing well. Appreciate you guys having me on again.
Oh, no problem at all, John. Before we start talking about the expect here in the semifinals, we've been talking about this ongoing situation, whether it's Trinidad Chambliss or whether what's going on with the Washington quarterback. So let's start with Trinidad here tonight for the Ole Miss Rebels. What is the very latest you can tell us about Tom Mars and him trying to, tell the NCAA, hey, listen, my client eligibility? Where's the latest on that?
Yeah, I mean, it's an ongoing battle. The last that I heard when I checked in earlier today, still no resolution there. And just to give some background, like Tom Mars is an absolute Harbaugh's at his.
Oh, yeah.
And that,
What?
the NCAA Tom, how you go out, not he's not if the
Act. This should be interesting to see what happens. Saw where he had retained legal services, and then the attorney just recently comes back and says he's got philosophical conflict of interest, whatever. But just from the case itself, just on the basis of what he's trying to get done here, what do you believe ultimately happens?
Well, what I think is interesting about this situation, I'll say a couple of things. One, I think a lot of what is wrong with college sports right now, there's a lot that's amazing about it, but what's wrong about it in part is that this is the kind of the story that's getting the most attention right now when we've got two semifinals coming up here. And that's no knock on you guys. Like, it is the big story. And so I understand why it's what we're talking about. But this is the kind of problem college football keeps running into, where the games are amazing and everything outside of it is kind of a mess. But this one kind of has it all. And so just to give a quick rundown, you had his agent, who's Wasserman agent, walk away from Damon Williams. That's particularly interesting because that same guy also represents Jed Fish, the Washington head coach. So you already had kind of some weird conflict potential there. You've got a guy who is now trying to go to another school. He's hired Darren Heitner. That's interesting because Darren Heitner is who represented Xavier Lucas, who went from Wisconsin to Miami despite signing a rev share deal for Wisconsin. Very similar to this potential Washington situation. And then you've got tampering, which is something that coaches complain about all the time. Everyone's kind of doing it, or at least everyone's accusing each other of doing it. But it feels particularly important here where Damon Williams signed a rev share deal a week ago or so at this point, and then enters the portal with a do not contact tag, which typically means he has a good sense of where he's going. So you've kind of got every college football issue all wrapped up into one here. What's the end result? Well, he's not going back to Washington. I think that's clear at this point. He's going to pick another school. If he follows the Xavier Lucas model, in which Wisconsin refused to put him in the portal the way that Washington seems to be indicating it will not, he's going to have to unenroll from Washington, enroll at another school. And the question will be whether he can take his NIL rights with him. How big of a buyout will he have to pay to get out of his deal with Washington? And ultimately, what are the long-ranging consequences of now two players at Big Ten schools deciding they don't believe that these rev share contracts are enforceable enough to stop them from going to another school? after signing it.
In his case in particular, because we were doing some sleuthing and some backtracking on his original recruitment out of high school, our guess is that it's LSU and Lane Kiffin where potentially he wants to land. Can you elaborate on any of that?
I would say Miami is also one that I have heard,
Okay.
and that is one that I can tell you going back a few months ago had been told Miami was interested in him. And it was a maybe we can nudge him in type situation. So
It's interesting,
I'm
John,
not.
because what if it is Miami, and then
Oh, gosh.
all of a sudden, will Tony Petitti fly to South Florida, because that will be the second Big Ten school that Miami has gone and pilfered one of their top players?
Well, it's funny if it ends up being that way. I joked with someone at the Big Ten the other day. I was like, maybe Washington can just join Wisconsin's lawsuit, just have a common enemy.
Just a
If
class
it ends
action
up
suit.
being Miami. Yeah, exactly. But and that's the thing. I think there's a lot again that come with it. Is like this is now the second Big Ten guy, and like I can tell you that I talked to the person who put together that contract for the Big Ten, and like they feel very confident this is a legally enforceable document, and they believe in that, and that's why Big Ten schools have used it as kind of their general form. They all essentially use it within the Big Ten, and so it raises real questions. Like if you're a Big Ten school, you're probably a little bit worried right now that here's the second one where a kid's doing this, like, and even if you eventually get recourse, like think about it right now, like Wisconsin hasn't gotten anything out of this. They've lost
Yeah.
Xavier Lucas. He's playing in a national semifinal tonight.
Mhm.
He has been a key piece of Miami. Wisconsin's gotten nothing from it. Now that case continues to work its way through the legal system, but it could be years before they get anything out of it. And if that's how it keeps playing out, it's going to, I think, embolden even more people to do this, because by the time you get anything out of it, your coach could be fired. Luke Fickell could be fired by the time Wisconsin gets anything out of the Xavier Lucas situation.
John Talty from CBS Sports joining us for a few more minutes, just talking about just so many things going on in the world of college football. I wanted to ask you about Kalen DeBoer. Obviously, you're very familiar with the Alabama football program. It's something that you covered on a daily basis. Now you cover the whole sport in general for CBS Sports. But how much, if any, do you believe he will be on the hot seat in 2026?
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, a hot seat is like, I think warm seat probably at least. I think we're seeing a little bit more aggression, I guess, in the portal from them in a way that I've kind of wanted them to see. Of course, now the big question is what happens at quarterback with Ty Simpson going to the NFL. Do you believe in the two guys that you have on the roster, or do you feel like you need to go out and get an experienced quarterback? If it were up to me, and listen, I'm not a college football coach. I don't have the success of Kalen DeBoer, but if it were up to me, I would go out and get a portal quarterback, because I do feel like next year is a critical year for Kalen DeBoer. I feel like he did not meet expectations this year, but he did miserably fail, right? I mean, that last game leaves such a sour taste in everyone's mouth that I think is making this offseason a little more challenging for him. But making it to a quarterfinal, making it to an SEC championship game, even though neither one of those went well, that at least I think is a step in the right direction after missing the playoff a year ago. But he's going to have to take another step, I think, next year. And I mean, you just look around college sports right now. I mean, Indiana is crushing it in the transfer portal. I think Ole Miss is doing a great job in the transfer portal. We know Lane is going to get players at LSU. Like, it's a challenging market right now. The parity is well established. And I think that he is still fighting back against the expectations of what Alabama has been under Nick Saban, against the reality of how wide open, I think, in some ways, college football is now, and also just straight up how much money is being poured into the sport when you have Mark Cuban getting involved and Larry Ellison and, of course, Cody Campbell at Texas Tech. Like, does Bama have a guy like that who's willing to throw that kind of money around? I haven't really seen it. And that's going to be a challenge, I think, in some ways for Alabama moving forward.
Who do you think America is ultimately pulling for with the four teams left in the college football playoff? Because some might argue Ole Miss, some could say Indiana. What says you, John?
I think it is Ole Miss. I would say that. Listen, I don't have any tie. I root for the storylines, I guess, is what I would typically say. And I think to me, the most interesting storyline would be an Ole Miss versus Indiana national championship for a lot of reasons. I think what Ole Miss has gone through. It's been, well documented at this point, but it's unbelievable, unprecedented, and I think has the chance to really be an all-time team if they could do that. And Indiana is just so remarkable in that if you said 2 years ago Indiana would be playing for a national championship, somebody would think that you're on drugs. I mean, it was just so unbelievable in so many ways. And I think I just was telling someone this earlier today, like it, the way that Signetti coaches, the way that that team plays, it just reminds me so much of Alabama. And just like, even like the grumpiness of Signetti, and like, it reminds me of the stuff we did of Saban early on. Like, does this guy even smile? Is he happy? Like, it just feels so much like that. So I think I have a soft spot in my heart, having covered all those Saban and Alabama teams. Like, it's kind of cool to see really the process that Saban built working at a place that we never thought it would happen, right? Like, I can remember all of the the what if questions we used to ask. Like, if we put Nick Saban at this school, do you think he could win big? Well, Signetti's not Nick Saban, but there's a lot of similarities. And like, this is the greatest example yet, maybe, of like Saban's process and ideas working at a school we never thought it could work at.
John, I wanted to ask you about the college football playoff expansion. Are we doomed to be a 12-team format again in 2026? Or do you think cooler heads are going to get together and we're going to actually stop kicking the can down the road? We might have an expansion to 16 teams this season.
Do cooler heads exist in college sports?
Well, of course not, but I was just hoping. It's a new year.
Just the people on this phone call.
Yeah.
Yeah, who knows? I mean, here's the thing. It had been trending for 12 for a while. I think it could be interesting to see. You never want to be a prisoner of the moment, but like it does have an impact on these situations. Like, let's say that Indiana wins, and let's say Miami wins, and let's say Indiana wins it all. Well, 3 years in a row of the Big Ten winning a national championship, it would be, not having an SEC team again in a national championship. Like, how does that impact the conversation? Does that change things? Like, you're seeing right now that the Big Ten is on a bit of an island from what the others want from a formatting standpoint. But if I'm the Big Ten and I have a lot of control over the future of the format along with the SEC, it's working pretty well for us right now. We're getting teams in, we're winning. And so if the Big Ten were to win another national championship, I just wonder how that would impact. Well, it feels like there's some momentum right now, but I wonder if that would slow it down and even put Big Ten even more entrenched in the, we want to do what we want. That's great. Otherwise, let's keep it at 12 because it's working great for us. And if you guys don't like it, figure out something else.
That is John Talty. You can follow his work there at cbssports.com. John, Happy New Year. Always appreciate you carving out some time for us. Let's talk football, actual X's and O's, because I know from all the legalese that's been going on the last couple of years with the House settlement and all this CFP expansion talk, it's nice to maybe one day we can wake up and actually talk about good football.
Hey, I'd love that. I'll be in Miami for the national championship, so you guys feel free to reach out. We can talk about the game, and hopefully some of the off-field antics will have calmed down a little bit.
Sounds good.
Well, we will, John. Thanks a lot, and we'll talk to you soon.
Appreciate it, guys.
Thank you. Just John Talty joined us from CBS Sports. He joined us on the Higginbotham Hotline. He's your one-source solution for insurance, financial, and HR services.
As promised, your text on the Jocks text line, a lot of those we are going to get to, and we'll do it next on Three Man Front. 12:49, college football playoff coming up tonight, the semifinal from Glendale. Already a host of guests to talk about that game, including one Brett Norsworthy, part of the Ole Miss radio crew, joining us, if you will, and we're going to get that tonight. The text line's open, 205-834-9450. Going back to the Ty Simpson conversation that we were having earlier in the show, this one rolls in. It says, Landrum, these people really trigger me. The armchair quarterback says Simpson's got to go, or the same people saying DeBoer better get a transfer quarterback or his job is on the line. They should just acronym. Just a few.
Well, I can just speak from my perspective and the people that I talk to. And again, just the belief from the people that I've talked to is it's not, oh, well, you got to go get somebody else. It was more so, let's see what Keelan Russell is. And that was kind of the, again, I like Ty Simpson. He has a great story. He did a lot of great things for Alabama this year. They could win a lot of games with him next year, but
So what did you think about his
intrigued.
comment about Alabama needs to go get someone out of the transfer portal?
I think from a depth perspective, sure, but I don't. I guess I look at it like this. If you're telling me Austin Mack or Keelan Russell's not ready next year, we got bigger problems. That would be a massive failure by this coaching staff if neither one of those guys was ready.
No, is it believed still that Austin Mack is going to – has that changed any?
Well, I think it has changed, and the reason why is because this could be a situation where he believes he might be the number one quarterback right now. So there's an actual quarterback competition.
I had also heard from somebody that covers the program, and they were going to have to do more digging on this, but there was a belief that based on what year he is, that if he's graduated, he could technically be a grad transfer, and at that point he would be able to he would have a little more time to make his decision. Like he could transfer in the spring still as a grad transfer.
See, I was told 2 nights ago, this was before Simpson declared for the NFL draft. I was told that Alabama could not and would not pay for 2 top-notch quarterbacks, that something had to give.
And that was Ty Simpson going to the draft, which is why I said I think that was maybe the easiest path forward for all parties.
Do you guys remember an Alabama fan from the state of Georgia that had so much fun sending text about Ryan Williams earlier in the season?
Yeah.
Well, he has chimed in. He or she have chimed in. Conrad is my spirit animal. Broke my hand in 2013 after the kick 6. Those Bose Wave stereos were tough. Boy, they were.
I'm glad I'm not the only one that's overreacted to a football game before.
She texted in too while you were gone. Faye from Childersburg. Y'all sound a lot sexier today. Welcome back, Crimson Stallion.
Crimson Stallion?
Just joining the show.
I mean, that's a compliment.
Faye
I guess?
loves her some Conrad.
Hey, and Landrum can back me up on this. I'm not creating this out of thin
Or
air.
him some Conrad. We don't know.
Tuesday at Social Taco, the number of people that want Faye to come up there.
Yeah, I do too.
And I'm talking about like BB.
I'm very curious.
Does it need to be a public setting, or would you agree to
a private meeting?
Meet Faye.
Yeah, we'll go to a back alley somewhere or whatever.
What's going there? It's just...
Well, I just assumed that was the other option. We'll figure it out.
Back alley. This one coming in. McDaniel gives off Conrad vibes.
Check your phone.
Don't like that. I'm going to take that as not a compliment.
Am I supposed to read the one from you or Brett?
From me.
That's good. That's really good. Oh. Hey, Conrad, is Tua done with the Dolphins? Because if the reports are true, John Harbaugh and Tua sounds like a winning combination.
He did an interview a couple days ago, said he thought it would be, quote, dope if he got a fresh start somewhere. So, look, man, I feel like his time with the Dolphins has come to pass. He is also owed $54 million next year. I would advise every NFL team to probably not take on that financial burden. It's a great for him. He's going to be set for generations. But
his kids are young, right?
Yeah, they're babies.
Yeah, stay at home, enjoy yourself. Take your kids to daddy's day out.
Oh, and I'm just thinking of like the other. Like, do you really want to go play for the Jets or somebody like that that's desperate? Like, I'd probably just hang it up. But yeah, I think his days with the Dolphins are certainly done.
I don't understand the hate for Ty coming from Conrad. Ty was not our problem. The O-line was our problem. And at times, play calling didn't help either. When Ty had a clean pocket, he was phenomenal and the Heisman front runner.
He was really great for half a season. And I will always remember that.
Going back to the full body cramps that Phylon experienced last night in the Alabama basketball game, Fat Joe says I was on a 65-mile mountain event where I didn't put enough training in for. You went 65 miles and you didn't train enough? Sorry. I rode way too hard, had full body cramps. It wasn't fun. I think the only thing that wasn't cramping was a hair on my head. Next day, I felt like I was hit by a semi-truck.
That doesn't sound fun. Look, I get toe cramps and stuff sometimes, and that's bad.